Alright, so in this video we're going to look at solving a 45, 45, 90 triangle. So it says here, if the two acute angles in a right triangle are both 45 degrees, then the shorter side, the legs, so this is what they're talking about here, the legs, these two sides here, they're both opposite the 45-degree angle, they're the shortest sides, and they're both equal. Are equal, and the longest side, the hypotenuse, is the square root of 2 times as long as the shorter sides. So if we have the two shorter sides, we'll call them T. Then the side opposite the 90-degree angle, the longest side, is the square root of 2 times the side. Okay? So let's look at this. It says find the remaining sides of a 45, 45, 90 triangle if the shorter side is 1/2. So let's go ahead and draw this. So we'll draw us a 45, 45, 90 triangle. There's the 90-degree angle. And it's telling us that the shorter side is 1/2. So that tells us here, we'll call this T. That's going to equal 1/2. Okay. And so that means that this, which is also T, would be 1/2. Alright, so the two shorter sides are 1/2. So the longer side, the longest side, which we'll call that C, okay, so C is equal to T, or the length of the shorter side, times the square root of 2. So that's going to be the shorter side times the square root of 2. And when we multiply that together, you can see that's over 1. So that's going to give us the square root of 2 over 2. And there's the length of the longer side, or of the longest side. And we can say that T is 1/2. That's the length of the shortest side, of the shorter sides. Alright, so let's take a look at another one. Alright, so same thing. It says find the remaining sides of a 45, 45, 90 triangle if the longest side is 5 square root of 2. Alright, so let's go ahead and draw this triangle out. And this will be 45, this will be 45, and there's 90. Alright, so they're telling us that the longest side, which is the side opposite the 90-degree angle, is 5 square root of 2. And they want us to find the remaining sides. So we'll need to find this side, we'll call it T, and then once we find this side, we'll have this side because these two sides are the same. Alright, so let's see what it gives us here. It tells us that the longest side is 5 square roots of 2. That's the side opposite the hypotenuse. Well, what is the side opposite the hypotenuse? It's T times the square root of 2. So that's telling us that this 5 square root of 2, see it's opposite the 90, is equal to T square root of 2. So all I need to do is set these equal to each other, and then I can solve for T. But I'm sure you can see that we've got a square root of 2, we've got a square root of 2, and then T is just 5. Okay, but let's go ahead and set them equal to each other and solve, because sometimes this may not we may not have a square root of 2 every time. Alright, so I've got T square root of 2 is equal to 5 square root of 2, and then I'll divide both sides by the square root of 2, and so that gives me T equals, and you can see here the square root of 2's cancel, and so I'm left with T equals 5, and that would be the length of the two shorter sides. They're both 5 because they're both opposite the 45-degree angle. Alright, let's look at one more. Alright, find the remaining sides of a 45, 45, 90 triangle if the longest side is 12. Okay, so once again they're giving us the length of the side opposite the 90-degree angle. So let's draw us a triangle. This is 45, this is 45, and there's 90. And the length of the longest side is 12. And we'll call the two shorter sides T. Alright, so they're telling us here that the side opposite the 90, see the side opposite the 90, is 12. So that means 12 is equal to T square root of 2. And so we set these equal to each other and we solve for T. So I get T, sorry about that. I get T square root of 2 is equal to 12. So I can divide both sides by square root of 2. And so that gives me T equals 12 over the square root of 2. And then a lot of times your teacher wants you to rationalize the denominator, so let's go ahead and rationalize denominator. So I'll multiply numerator and denominator by square root of 2 over square root of 2. And this will give me T equals 12 square root of 2 over, and then square root of 2 times square root of 2 is square root of 4, which is 2. And then this will reduce. I'm left with a 1 and a 6. And so I get 6 square roots of 2. And this would be the length of my two shorter sides. And I hope this video helped. Check out my other videos, and thanks.